Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about exercise with smokers. I'm Brett Folk, and we'll go ahead and get started. Um, when it comes to ex-smokers, um, exercise can be very helpful. Uh, it fights the cravings with exercise. So I mean, when you have your when you quit smoking, I'm sure you all have gone through the withdrawals, and this and exercise can actually help fight those cravings and fight that need or that urge to smoke or to have nicotine. Withdrawal symptoms have actually been shown to negate or be negated during exercise and up to 50 minutes after exercise. So for almost a whole hour after you finish exercise, you still won't feel the need to smoke or get those headaches or get really stressed out or anything like that. Which brings me to my next bullet point. It helps cope with stress and gives you more energy, which is always useful. It can also decrease your appetite, allowing you to keep from gaining weight, which some people have trouble with when they quit. Uh, Most likely from the stress and the having to cope with the cravings. I know in my own or not in my own personal experience, but with a family member, their way of coping was by eating uh, just candy and chips a lot, which helped them keep from smoking. So, which can lead to weight no if you don't participate in exercise. For ex-smokers, try to exercise for 30 minutes a day. If you can't find 30 minutes, try and find three 10-minute segments of time that you have where you can do some sort of exercise. For regular smokers, uh, to quit smoking, exercise can be a key tool. I'm sorry. It can reduce the urge in general to smoke, and can also reduce the withdrawal symptoms from quitting, like stated in the previous slide. Um, and this is for regular smokers as well as ex-smokers and really even non-smokers. Um, but if you don't regularly exercise, start out with something that you're comfortable with. So something easy like running, your body weight exercises such as push-ups and sit-ups. Uh, if you want to use free weights, you feel like you should use free weights, start out light. Once you get comfortable from there with those lighter exercises and safer exercises, then you can move into heavier weights or longer distances, um, your more extreme uh, versions of exercise, whatever they may be, and you can just go at your own pace with that. Um, as far as exercise intensities are concerned, for someone starting out with exercise, you can always start by just trying to run a mile a day. There's not much risk involved. Um, we walk or run a mile every day, anyways. Most people, so to add this extra mile in as exercise, as additional exercise, shouldn't be a big deal. And like I said, there's very little risk involved. For your beginner, you can walk at a good steady pace. You don't want to be strolling along, but have a nice pace to your walk. Get your breath and heart rate up. For your people that are moderately familiar with exercise, or exercise here and there, maybe run the mile in intervals. So 30 seconds of walking, and then followed by 30 seconds of running, and then you stop and walk for 30 seconds, and then run for 30 seconds, and continue to do this throughout the whole mile. Um, if you're on a track running your mile, you can even do A lot of people will walk the curves and then run the straights, or vice versa, whatever you prefer to do. But and then when it comes to an experienced runner or someone who's more conditioned at exercise, if you're doing this mile a day thing, then just try and run it at as fast a pace as you can manage to run it at. Um, if you're doing something more like swimming or biking or some other, those are just two other examples I have here in this presentation. But you can do anything such hiking and playing any kind of intramural type sports. Will also work and definitely can be sufficient exercise. But when it comes to swimming and biking, just a couple of things. Those are two more easy things to do. Swimming, as long as you know how to do them both, uh, there's really not much risk unless you were to get overly tired while swimming and drowned and there'd be no lifeguard, or with biking you were to wreck. Those are really the two biggest things, but hopefully you would not run across that situation. Um, they're both great cardio workouts, also, which for a smoker can be very beneficial with smoking breaking down your cardiovascular system and weakening your heart and lungs. Being able to do cardio workouts and strengthen that back up is always going to be a good thing. So for a beginner though, swimming 10 to 20 laps at your own pace or biking 3 to 5 miles at your own pace, those are, it seems like a lot, but it's really not. And if you really can't do that much, you can do less, or maybe mix like a half swim, half land workout, half running. Do a little bit like swim 5 laps in the pool and then go run half a mile, and just kind of do it that way if that's what you need to do. But for like for your moderate level athlete, swim 20 to 30 laps and try and keep at a decent pace, 1.5 minutes per lap. And really, that's not long at all. That's honestly a good amount of break with um, in between laps, depending on how fast you swim. But if you're a decent swimmer, that's a good amount of break. And then when it comes to biking, 5 to 10 miles at 5 minutes per mile. Um, that's not a super hard pace on a bike, but that's a decent pace, and that'll give you a good 30 minutes of workout for sure. And then when it comes to your more experienced athletes, swimming 30 to 40 laps, even up to 64 laps. 64 laps in a pool is a mile. So um, some of your more experienced athletes could do that for sure. And then try and keep your laps there at a minute pace, lower the pace, make the pace a little faster. And yet again, a minute pace. If you're able to swim that many laps, a minute pace is plenty of time for someone of that experience. And then as far as biking, 10 to 15 miles at 3 to 3.5 minutes per mile. That's still a very reachable goal for sure. And 10 to 15 miles seems like a lot, but on a bike can go by fairly quickly. So, excuse me. Some risks of exercise for smokers. Some risks. Let me move this out of the way. Some risks involved with exercising for smokers would be your basic injuries, such as just pulled muscles, potential broken bones, muscle fatigue, exhaustion from restricted air, where I mean, obviously, smoking has hindered your ability to breathe by damaging your lungs. So there's going to be restricted air intake there. Risks specific to smokers. The previous bullet point would actually be specific to smokers, but some others would be out of breath, increased risk that it could cause asthma attacks or gasping for air. Um, People that may not have had asthma in the past may now experience it from smoking. smoking-induced asthma, which can cause you to, especially during exercise. And a lot of people have exercise-induced asthma also, but this can be magnified with by smoking if you had this in the past. So, and then also just risk of injury in general is increased. Um, Bones are made more brittle. A lot of people that smoke have osteoporosis. Um, and there's just a lot of things that increase your ability to be injured is definitely increased because of smoking. So that's another risk. And I've made a bullet point here at the end. You must realize that smoking has hindered your body's performance and ability to perform at a high level. And so it may be better to start lighter and work into it rather than putting yourself at risk for injury, especially because your risk for that is already increased. So if you're getting back into exercising, start light, work into it, get good form. If you're working with weights, learn all of that stuff first and work your way into it because you've already put yourself at an increased risk. There's no need to try and jump into it and do more than you're capable of right off the bat. So some benefits, basic benefits of exercise, obviously increased endurance, stronger and just better general health. But some benefits specific to smokers would be a reduced urge to smoke um, by exercising. Like I said in one of the previous slides, uh, your withdrawal symptoms will be hindered during the exercise and up to 50 minutes after. And the reduce to smoke in general is also reduced. It puts you in a better mood, relieves stress by probably puts you in a better mood by relieving that stress. I know in my own experience, my father smokes some, and he says that it's his stress reliever, but he also does not exercise. So I try to get him to be more active and hope that that would keep him from wanting to smoke as much. And but also, as I mentioned previously, it helps with weight gain from quitting. A lot of people experience weight gain when they quit smoking, just by dealing with the withdrawals in different ways. And um, smoking actually does tend to help keep people thinner, which I'm not using that as a promotion by any means, but if you take that out of it, then people may tend to put on weight and gain more weight. Recommendations for daily activity, pretty basic. Uh, you got to exercise for 30 minutes a day. Find 10-minute segments if you can't find 30 minutes to set aside. I want to restate the start with low intensity, work up to heavy intensity. That includes intensity, and also if you're working with weights, like start with lighter weights, start with shorter distances, whatever it may be, and work your way up. And then just a daily activity recommendation that everybody can do, and that is good exercise, is try and run a mile every day, and also try and go to the pool or biking or hiking. Go play basketball, pick up basketball, whatever it may be, in addition to the mile, or instead of the mile at a minimum, at least every day, and do that, and excuse me, sorry. Hopefully, hopefully, it can negate some of the effects from smoking and help you to quit in the future. Thank you.